Spencer Callahan is the one to see.
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
A magic beyond anything you could ever imagine.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Sagrera Farms on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day.
You really think that's the best idea?
Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
It's quite a piece of work.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this rainy Thursday, working towards the weekend. Appreciate you hanging out with us on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. We're brought to you by Sagrera Farms. Premium Angus beef. Got Jordan Kitchens, Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. Got our normal Thursday staples coming your way a little bit later on. We'll talk to Chris Blair, voice of the Tigers, at 2:15. I believe he was on the call last night for LSU in Boston College. I was in the home space and did not listen last night, but I think Blair was up there in Chestnut Hill. So talk a little hoops with him, and certainly the news of LSU football. We'll talk about that with Chris Blair. Luke Johnson, 2:30 from Saints. We haven't talked a lot of Saints. They're back in action this weekend on Sunday at Tampa. So we'll get a thought on the black and gold at 2:30 with Luke. What's the deal with Blake Baker? I'll talk about it in 15 minutes, and I want to react myself to LSU's win last night in Chestnut Hill against Boston College in the ACC-SEC Challenge coming up at 1:30. But we start today with signing day, signing period stuff. I've got kind of just our checklist. I know that some of you, and we very much appreciate you, are locked in 7 to 10, are locked in 11 to 1, are locked in 1 to 3, or locked in 3 to 6. You're listening to us a lot all day, and this is kind of going to be regurgitating some information if that is you. I know some of you just catch us when you're in the car, and that may be right now. It may have been at 11:15 this morning. It may be later on at 5:15 this afternoon, but you're here now. And so I'm going to cover like the pertinent things with LSU's 2026 signing class in this 3-day window to sign high school players for Lane Kiffin. Starts with Richard Anderson. Richard Anderson, yesterday, you're all aware, the 5-star defensive tackle from Edna Carr, number 1 defensive tackle in the country. He was the first commitment into this LSU class. And yesterday, he went to his signing ceremony at Carr, where they had 15 kids signing D1 scholarships. And he said, y'all thought I wasn't signing. I am signing. Going to put pen to paper. And everybody that was there, I mean, this is not like deep in the shadow stuff. There were a lot of reporters there. I mean, Carr signed 15 kids signing. That is a media event for the folks in South Louisiana. And so the people that were there interviewed him like, yeah, signing. So everyone writes that he's going to sign. We switched him over on our tracker, but LSU never announced it yesterday. So you start to go, okay, what's the deal? And today, we reported at LouisianaSports.net, not anonymous sources. Matt Moscona spoke with Bryce Brown, Carr's coach. Bryce Brown said, yes, Richard Anderson has spoken with LSU. He's going to sign. There's a clerical issue. When he gets out of testing today, he will sign. I have absolutely no reason, concrete reason, to deny that from Bryce Brown. He's the kid's coach, okay? Bryce Brown has met with Lane Kiffin and the staff. We know that. And he's right there with Big Rich. So I believe Bryce Brown. I'll also say it's a little bit fishy, like a clerical error. We can just get that sent back over. This is not right. We'll send that right back. That seems like a little bit much for me, but recruiting's a wild, wild west. I'm going to take Bryce Brown for his word for it. I'm going to take Richard Anderson yesterday at his word for it. I believe, based on those two people's comments in the last literally 24 hours, that Richard Anderson's going to sign with LSU today. If that doesn't happen and I wake up tomorrow morning, Friday, and he still has not signed, I'll go, that's something. But right now, imagining that's going to happen. Lamar Brown is not as upfront, but people around LSU feel pretty good about Lamar Brown between now and the end of this period tomorrow. We'll see when he decides to sign. Sounds like that's going to happen tomorrow at U-High in a ceremony. I believe that's going to be LSU. I think LSU believes it's going to be LSU. I'm not a recruiting insider, but those are the vibes you're getting right now with Lamar Brown. And those are certainly the two guys that you looked at in this class, in the state, the position they played, the defensive front, that you really would like to get in this class. I understand the landscape of college football. I understand that guys sign and then leave a year later. I understand that you can miss out on guys and they can come back a year later. I understand all those things about the portal being potentially more impactful year over year than the high school signees, but I do believe in high school signatures. I do believe in getting Whit Weeks into your program. I do believe in getting DJ Pickett into your program. I do believe in getting Malik Neighbors into your program. I do believe in getting Will Campbell and Emory Jones into your program and having them for 3 years in this era of the transfer portal. And I also believe that Lane Kiffin is going to handle LSU's offense and that LSU's offense annually is going to be a top 20 operation. He did that at Ole Miss. He did that at Bama. He won conference championships at FAU by scoring a ton of points. I think he's going to do that at LSU. The defensive side of the ball is going to be the one that is going to be coordinator dependent here at LSU and is going to be player dependent here at LSU. And these are two guys on the defensive front from Louisiana that you'd really like to get in this class. And I believe right now, based on people that we've talked to, based on reports that have been had, based on the national recruiting folks, our local recruiting folks who do an awesome job, there's not a lot that suggests that Richard Anderson and Lamar Brown are not going to be in this class. Would you have liked that to happen yesterday? Yes. Did it happen yesterday? No. Could it happen any second now? Yes. Will it happen by the end of Friday when this period closes? I believe so. It remains to be seen. There is further news. We talked about yesterday that it was a good day for LSU because they did not lose any of their commitments to flips. But that door remained open as 6 kids remained unsigned. And one of them this morning did make an expected flip. Dylan Purter, 4-star safety from Alabama, committed and signed with Florida earlier today. So that's a guy, safety in this class, that LSU has had committed since March, who's decided to go join Florida. It was expected, not much more to add to that situation. The other one that did come up today that we talked about a little bit yesterday, but that we weren't certain of because there was no paperwork, was Landon Duckworth. Landon Duckworth is a 4-star quarterback, number 10 ranked cornerback in the country, 6'3", dual threat, runs 4x100 track on a state championship track relay team, averaged 10 points per game in basketball, led his team to a state championship in football as a junior, threw for 3,000 yards, ran for 650 more. Very good athlete, good quarterback prospect, and a guy that LSU, under Brian Kelly and Joe Sloan, had recruited. And he liked LSU, but he decided to commit to South Carolina. He also talked to the staff at Ole Miss extensively in his recruiting process, but he decided to commit to South Carolina. Yesterday, Steve Wiltfong, national over at 0-3, and Shea Dixon, local over at 0-3, put in recruiting prediction machines for Landon Duckworth to flip and sign with LSU. And both those guys do incredible work. And I thought, well, that's likely to happen then if those two guys say that. And as you know, that was probably the case yesterday. But once that happens, those phones start lighting up. Negotiations start happening. You get a couple coaches playing tug-of-war. And ultimately, this morning, the commitment won out, and Landon Duckworth did pledge to South Carolina. Now, how big a hit is that to LSU? Well, it's not really a hit considering he was already committed to South Carolina and never decommitted from South Carolina. It was just what the folks were hearing through the bushes that this might be a guy that flips. I would have loved it if LSU got a high school quarterback in this class. Because you look at LSU right now from a quarterback perspective, you've got Garrett Nussmeier on this roster, he's out of eligibility. You've got Michael Van Buren on this roster, he's played 2 years of SEC football. You've got Colin Hurley officially listed on the roster, he's away from the team. That's it. So right now, you're looking at January 1st, well, maybe January 3rd when the season's over for LSU if they play on the 2nd in the Duke's Mayo Bowl. You move forward with one quarterback for sure on the roster, and he's not even for sure because he's a free agent at the end of every year like every other player. I would just like to have a body signed up to come play football for LSU at quarterback. Plus, he's a pretty talented athlete and a guy that this LSU staff that I'm now talking about, Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss Jr., have a relationship with. So I wouldn't expect Landon Duckworth to come in and start at LSU next year, but just to be on the team. I need quarterbacks on the team, and they don't have quarterbacks on the team. We'll see if Michael Van Buren sticks around. Again, that's not speculation that he might leave. It's just always a possibility, right? And they just don't have any more depth at quarterback. So I would have loved to have had that. There is no question, zero question, that LSU is going to go hard in the transfer portal after the best quarterback they can find. That's Lane Kiffin's MO. He did it with Jackson Dart. He did it with Walker Howard. He did it with Spencer Sanders. He did it with Trinidad Chambliss. Like, he goes and finds quarterbacks in the transfer portal, and he's really good at it. So they're going to do that in January. But I'm certainly not going to turn away a high schooler that wants to show up. And so that would have been a really nice addition to this early signing period class. It just didn't come to pass. So it looks like LSU will go a second consecutive high school class without signing a quarterback. It's not a death sentence in this era, far from it. But I would just prefer to bring a high schooler in as a body. But you're not going to do that, it doesn't appear. So at this point, as you look at LSU's class, feel good about Richard Anderson. We're told today. Remains to be seen if it happens. We'll tell you. Feel good about Lamar Brown, potentially tomorrow. Again, nothing official. We feel pretty good about that. Dylan Purter flips, and then Landon Duckworth does stick with his commitment to South Carolina. That's where LSU stands right now from a class perspective. You're talking about a class, looks like, based on what we think and what we're looking at here, you're going to get about 15, 16 players in this high school class. And that would have been a really, really big problem 10 years ago. It just means you got more roster spots to fill in the transfer portal coming up in January. And Lane Kiffin got to the podium for his introductory press conference on Monday and said, I have no doubt about the transfer portal, no doubt about interest. We know what we had in terms of interest at Ole Miss. When you put this brand on, you go in that stadium with these colors, that logo, you're going to be awesome in the transfer portal. Plus, you look at what LSU has set aside in terms of funds for student athletes, revenue sharing, and then what you can do from an NIL perspective. And you feel like LSU is going to make some hay in the transfer portal, but that still remains to be seen. One of the reasons I think Lane Kiffin took this job was to be able to identify and recruit local high school players with a little bit more ease. This is not the class where he's got the chance to lay any groundwork for that. That'll be next year to start. But it looks like LSU's in pretty good shape in terms of their average star ranking in this class. Is just not going to be a class that's got significant numbers behind it. That's going to have to come from the transfer portal for the 2026 roster. And then you continue to see how things evolve and just recruit the best players you can. And Lane Kiffin has certainly talked about that in his introductory press conference back on Monday inside Tiger Stadium. So that'll crank things up here on this Thursday, brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. When we come back, the latest on Blake Baker. It's not just Tulane that's in the mix now. We'll talk about it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is the website. Jonathan Carbo and his team are just awesome to work with from an insurance perspective. A lot of folks renew their programs from a commercial perspective in January. So if you are a business owner, you're a CFO, you are a risk management, you're in charge of the property and casualty insurance with your program, and you're looking for a second option, the Highland Insurance Group is thrilled to help you out with that. It doesn't cost anything, free, for them to audit your policy. They'll look at it, they'll see where you're placed, see what lines of coverage you have, see what the exclusions may read in your program, and if they see issues, they're going to let you know about it and help you to fix them. They understand that premium is an important piece to it. They know that. They're able to shop with dozens of carriers because they're an independent broker. But they also want to make sure that your business is protected when that car accident happens, when that hurricane rolls through, when that lawsuit happens, or one of your employees clicks an email he or she should not have and you've got a cyber breach. That's where your insurance needs to kick in. And if you've just cut the corners to get the lowest premium and now you've got an exposure, well, that's not ideally how you want to handle it. So the Highland Insurance Group is here to help you from that perspective. Reach out to them online at HighlandIG.com. They're located here in Baton Rouge and are happy to help you anywhere in the state of Louisiana. It's the Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Most roofers just replace your shingles. At Pelican, we diagnose your roof, digging deep down to find the root cause of your roof symptoms. Now cough for me. Good. We don't ignore your roof's issues, we address them.
Let's just take care of this right here.
Helping your roof to become the best version of itself. Interesting that you would say that. How does that make you feel? So call Pelican Roofing for your free roof checkup today.
Supreme Jasmine is premium American-grown rice. From local farms to your table, every grain is supreme. Pick up a bag of Jasmine or any other of our Supreme American rice.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. Whole team on wild.
Attention diesel mechanics. River Parish Contractors has an immediate full-time opening with benefits. Valid licenses and TWIC card is required to apply. Call or text Big Jake today at 985-479-9858 or go to rpcontractors.com and click on Apply Now. Come be part of the team that values hard work, has a high standard of excellence, and delivers projects on time and safely. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
A reminder, little housekeeping issue here on our family of networks here on Under the Guarantee Roof. Tonight, LSU women's basketball in Cameron Indoor against Duke in the SEC ACC Challenge. And you can listen to that on Eagle 98.1, which generally is the home of the men's basketball broadcast. But you can find it on Eagle 98.1 as well as Talk 107.3. Tonight, women's basketball from Cameron Indoor. So if you want to listen to that ball game, you're out and about this evening, which not a great evening to be out and about if we're just being honest. It's really wet and cold out there. But if you are, you can catch the women on Eagle 98.1. Okay, so there's a report today from Gary Smith, who covers Tulane for NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune. And his tweet 4 hours ago says, my intel indicates Tulane plans to wrap up its coaching search this week. Many candidates have interviewed, but the 5 I know of for certain are Bob Chesney, who's already taken the job at UCLA, Blake Baker, Billy Napier, Charlie Huff, and Will Hall. Now, Smith is indicating that he knows there have been more interviews, but these are the 4 that he is pointing out. Blake Baker from here at LSU, Billy Napier, obviously, just fired at Florida, Charlie Huff. If you're not familiar with Charlie Huff was the head coach at Marshall for 4 years, built them into a 10-win team in 2024, and this past year took the job at Southern Miss and went 7-5 at Southern Miss. And then also Will Hall. Now, Will Hall's got a different record at Southern Miss. That's who Charlie Huff took over for. Will Hall took over a Southern Miss program that was in decent shape, went 3-9, 7-6, 3-9, 1-6, and was fired, and then took over as the pass game coordinator at Tulane this year. So he's already on staff at Tulane. So you're looking at 2 guys with SMU ties, one that just got fired from there that's on Tulane staff, and the other guy who just took that job over. And then you've got Blake Baker up for this job. And then you've got Billy Napier. Now, Billy Napier has been mentioned by multiple national outlets today as being heavily involved in the James Madison search. And that, to me, indicates there's a real chance he gets that job. I know that Blake Baker has that Billy Napier has been linked to Tulane significantly here. And I'm not suggesting that he's definitely not getting the Tulane job, but it feels like when the national outlets put a guy with a job, it feels like they're down the road there. That's not like they might call him. That's like they've talked to him. Agents are in significant negotiations. And so I'm just reading tea leaves here. Nothing's been made official. I'm just telling you what I'm reading based on the national reporting, as well as some of the things that have been said around Baton Rouge and around New Orleans, which is obviously where I'm sitting right now. And my opinion on this matter is that it's likely Blake Baker gets a head coaching job in the next 3 days. I think that he would take the Tulane job if offered. I said that yesterday, and I think there's a good chance Tulane offers him that job. I think he's a significantly better candidate than Will Hall, who ran Southern Miss into the ground. He's there right now at Tulane, but he ran him into the ground. And then you've got Charlie Huff, who Coach Marshall did a great job. Coach Southern Miss did a nice job this year. Maybe it's those two guys, and I think Blake Baker probably brings a little bit more cachet because he's a national name from his time at Missouri, time at LSU. He's a Tulane alum. He's recruited the state of Louisiana for the last 2 years, and then in a previous stint at LSU and a previous stint at Louisiana Tech as their defensive coordinator. So you're talking about a guy it to me seems like a better hire. Now, like I've said, Tulane's last two hires have been great. They hired Willie Fritz, who was a head coach sitting at Georgia Southern, and they hired Can't come up with it.
Summerall?
Florida just hired him. Summerall. It's just, there's live radio. Just sometimes it just doesn't show up. They hired John Summerall, who was a sitting coach at Troy. And so not Will Hall. So Huff would be in line with that. But Baker, to me, sounds like a bigger splash hire and sounds like a guy that has a little bit better credentials to me. We'll see. But we also now know that Memphis is heavily involved with Blake Baker. I actually, somehow, some way, you'll never hear me talk like this, so when I do, I hope that you take it seriously. I actually do have some ears to the ground in Memphis. It's not a lot of places I have ears, but I do have ears to the ground in Memphis. And there's real Blake Baker buzz in Memphis. So my opinion on this matter is that Tulane and Memphis are kind of wrestling here. And when that happens, you kind of feel like the writing's on the wall. Now, to Blake Baker's sincere credit, he has gone through the last week really working with LSU, with Lane Kiffin, on trying to recruit players. And he has said, I'm here, I'm the defensive coordinator. And I think that's being sincere because I don't believe at this point, based on the information that we've got, anyone has told Blake Baker, like, you're the guy. I don't think that's happened yet. I just think it's probably going to happen. And to me, that's going to be a real tough blow to Lane Kiffin's first staff because I think he had a defensive coordinator in Pete Golding that he really liked, really trusted, really thought did a great job. And maybe you could bring Pete Golding with you as a Hammond native to LSU when you take the job, but he gets the head job at Ole Miss. And then you come to LSU and you've got a defensive staff that has taken the 108th total defense in college football and made them a top 15 scoring defense in college football in 2 seasons. And they're in place, and they're probably ready to go to work for you, but then the coordinator gets a head coaching job. And that happens. There was no way that Blake Baker was going to be Lane Kiffin's defensive coordinator for 2 more years, no matter what, because coordinators just generally don't stay that long, especially if they have aspirations of being a head coach. And we feel like Blake Baker certainly does. So at this point, Lane Kiffin's going to be fine on offense. Charlie Weiss is coming with him. He's got his wide receivers coach. We feel like got an offensive line coach that potentially is in place. We reported that at LouisianaSports.net. We don't know what the exact title is, but you've got a veteran SEC offensive line coach that's already in the building. You've got what's going to be a discussion, but at running back coach, it's either Kevin Smith or Frank Wilson. We'll talk a little bit more about that as we move forward. But the offensive staff is well coming together. And the defensive staff, if Blake Baker leaves, whether it's to Tulane, whether it's to Memphis, he handpicked Kevin Peoples to coach the edge rushers. He handpicked Jake Olson to work with the safeties. And Kyle Williams has been on the staff and been a college coach for 1 year. So those guys, especially Olson and Peoples, could be candidates to go with him wherever he goes for likely an elevation. Maybe Kevin Peebles gets to coach the entire defensive line instead of just the edge rushers. Maybe he becomes a defensive coordinator. Maybe Jake Olson gets to coach the entire secondary. Maybe he's a defensive coordinator. I don't know. I'm hypothesizing on this, but those are Blake Baker's guys. He worked with them at Missouri, and he brought them to Baton Rouge. It stands to reason they might go with him. And even so, if he leaves, Lane Kiffin's got a higher defensive coordinator, and if that guy comes in, maybe he's got guys he wants to bring. So you see that there will be a significant shakeup if Blake Baker does take another job. And at this point, my opinion, my guess, based on national reporting, what we're hearing in New Orleans, what we're hearing in Baton Rouge, what I'm hearing in Memphis, the feeling is I think it's an 85% or so chance that Blake Baker's not going to be here in 2 weeks. That's what I think. Now, he may coach the bowl game. I have no idea. He may go and let somebody else coach the bowl game. And I'll be candid with you. It's not the most popular thing to say. I don't care about the bowl game. I don't know who's going to play. I don't know who's going to coach the other team or who's going to play on the other team. I've got John Trey Kirkland playing quarterback one year. I've got LSU playing a Purdue skeleton the other year and scoring 65 points. I don't – the results of the bowl game is just inconsequential to me. I hate that because I liked bowl games when I was younger. It's gone. It's over for me personally. You can paint your face purple and gold and fly first class at the game and sit on the 50-yard line for $300 if you want, and I'm thrilled that you want to do that. I'm speaking for myself. I don't care about the bowl game. I care about next year's football team at this point. And next year's football team would be in better shape right now if Blake Baker was retained and stayed at LSU. But the stuff that I'm hearing right now makes it, to me, likely that he's not going to be here next year. He's working hard for LSU right now, but he's also doing interviews, we know. And I believe he's talked to Tulane. I believe he has talked to Memphis. And I just don't think that both of those jobs are going to go by the wayside. And by the way, like if you feel like the next step for Blake Baker, if you're Blake Baker and you think the next step is probably a G5 coaching job, like Memphis and Tulane are about as good as it gets. Both are in big cities. Both have big-time recruiting geographical advantages. Both have won a lot of games recently. You've looked at guys that have left Tulane for the Houston job, left Tulane for the Florida job. Memphis's last couple coaches have left for Arkansas and Florida State. Like, these are great springboard programs, and Blake Baker's got roots in New Orleans as an alum there as well. So this is a great opportunity for Blake Baker, but if we're talking about it from an LSU perspective, especially from a Lane Kiffin perspective, where defense is his biggest variable, this is a pretty big hit to him if it happens here in the next couple of days. Maybe we get an announcement that Tulane's found its guy and that Memphis has found its guy. I haven't seen a lot of reporting on who Memphis is looking for outside of Blake Baker, but it feels like right now that's where one of those two places are going to name him their head coach here in the next few days. And if you're looking at Gary Smith, who covers Tulane, Tulane's looking to wrap this thing up probably in the next 50, 75 hours. So we shall see. Just my thoughts on that, and we'll react to it looking back if it happens. That's just kind of my preview of where things are headed here as we sit on Thursday afternoon. I want to remind you about Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Love Sean Sagrera and all the folks over at Sagrera Farms. It's a great time to go see the farm. If you've got questions about the beef that you buy weekly, that you cook at home, you don't know where it comes from, you don't know whether or not they use improper steroids, improper antibiotics, you don't know when you buy that 1 pound pack of ground beef whether there's 1,000 DNA or where the DNA came from. You got questions. Plus the price has gone up significantly, right? Not at Sagrera Farms. So if you want to know exactly where your beef comes from, Sagrera Farms, right outside Baton Rouge. If you want to know exactly that there's been no improper steroid use, no antibiotic use, if you want to know that you're talking about a product that is 1 cow, 1 DNA that you're buying, this is a different way to buy your beef at Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Give Sean a call, 719-1723. 719-1723. Say, hey, Sean, heard Hunt talking about you. I'd love to get a side of beef. I'd love to get a whole cow. Whether you're going to put that in your freezer, you want to disperse it to friends and family for Christmas, clients for Christmas, you can do that over at Sagrera Farms as well. It's just a different way to do your beef. And oh, by the way, what I haven't mentioned, top 1% of the beef in the country comes from Sagrera Farms. Fillets, strips, ribeyes, ground beef. Sagrera Farms. They bring you our Thursday shows here on the Hunt Palmer Show. We will come back. Still got a lot to do over the next 90 minutes here. Let's talk LSU hoops. They got a win last night. I got a lot of thoughts on that. We'll do it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith with Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates. We take great pride in educating our clients about their rights. Whether you're injured at work or while you drive, call our office at 272-5555. Knowledge is power, and you should know your rights after an injury.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan of Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates. When insurance companies have been unfair, we've never been afraid to go to trial. Fighting hard to protect your rights, we never settle a case out of convenience. We only settle when it's right for you. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call.
With all the delicious chicken finger options, it was an impossible decision.
How about a box combo? Good. Now what can I get for you?
No, I want a Caniac combo with extra cane sauce, no slaw, 2 extra toast, and a half sweet tea, half lemonade.
Celebrate the holidays with Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
It's time for Christmas on the River, Cajun style. Join us for the 35th Annual Festival of the Bonfires, December 13th through 15th at Lutcher Park in St. James Parish. Enjoy great food, live music, local crafts, Santa's Very Merry Forest, and carnival rides. Plus, we'll light a new bonfire on Friday and Saturday in preparation for the arrival of Papa Noel. The 2024 Festival of the Bonfires is sponsored by First American Bank and Trust. Log on to festivalofthebonfires.org for more information.
Most roofers just replace your shingles. At Pelican, we diagnose your roof, digging deep down to find the root cause of your roof symptoms. Now cough for me? Good. We don't ignore your roof's issues, we address them.
Let's just take care of this right here.
Helping your roof to become the best version of itself. Interesting that you would say that. How does that make you feel? So call Pelican Roofing for your free roof checkup today.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Got a Bayou Ford chat. Who is Blake Baker? I mean, who is Lane Kiffin considering a defensive coordinator if Blake Baker does leave? That's a discussion probably to be had when Blake Baker leaves, if he leaves. So we'll do that then. I'm not going to, well, unless he's got a sitting defensive coordinator, and I'm going to go, well, here are the 4 guys he's looking at, which one, I don't know who he's looking at, and 2, you don't have an opening yet. So we'll do that if and when that opening comes. I've kind of given that some thought. got some things typed out that we could put on LouisianaSports.net, and then I'll certainly talk about here if that becomes a relevant conversation. But right now, it's kind of a wait and see with what Blake Baker decides to do. Let's talk about LSU hoops. LSU in the ACC-SEC Challenge last night in Boston College. I told you on yesterday's show, BC is very bad. They were 4-4 coming into the game, lost to Central Connecticut, lost to Tulane. Not a good team. And if you looked at that game on television last night, you can tell they're not a very good team, and it's freezing cold in Boston because there's nobody at that game. But when you're LSU and you won 3 games in the league last year, and they make these matchups up to try to put the best on the best and the middle on the middle and the bottom on the bottom, you're going to get paired with one of the bottom teams in the ACC, and they did. Boston College certainly fits that bill. And LSU came out last night and did what they were supposed to do. LSU led by 9, 8 minutes into the game. Marquell Sutton hit a 3 and then made a free throw a little bit later to put LSU up 14 points with 2 minutes to go in the first half. You were in complete control against a bad team. The only blip you had in the first half was the stretch where Deion Thomas came out of the game. They took him out for 4 minutes. And in those 4 minutes, Mike Nwoku picked up 2 fouls. You had a couple of empty possessions. Then you saw some confidence coming from Boston College. They hit a 3. They got to the rim. And all of a sudden, you lost what was a 9-point lead. It got cut to 2. They put Deion Thomas back in, and that lead stretched to 14 quickly. 12-point swing. So when Deion Thomas was out there, LSU had pretty much did whatever it wanted offensively. They led by 11 at the half. And you look at the first half box score, like it's indicative that LSU controlled the game. LSU shot 49% from the floor in the first half. Boston College shot 39% from the floor. The only thing LSU didn't do was get to the free throw line in the first half. They were only 2 of 4. It's a team that had been very, very good getting to the free throw line. But LSU had been very, very much in control of the game in the first half. And then you get to the second half. And that was just an awful half of offensive basketball for LSU. You were having success going to Mike Nwoku early in the game. You didn't do that. You were having no success making threes. You continued to hoist them up. They shot 11 in the second half. They went 1 for 11. And there was just a lid on the basket. LSU shot 9 of 34 in the second half. That's 27%. And you realize, and we'll get to this, but Deion Thomas made the last 2 shots of the game. So you were 7 for 32 at one point in the second half. 7 for 32 on the road. That's 22% shooting for a half of basketball for a team that was in the top 5 in the country in field goal percentage. And you were shooting 22%. I tweeted this out in the middle of this half. It's just really hard to win a basketball game when you don't make any shots. And they couldn't make shots. There was one stretch in the second half where on back-to-back possessions, Max McKinnon shot a 6-footer in the lane that was a little bit of a runner, missed it, and then right back down the floor, Deion Thomas shoots a 4-foot runner that he's been so good at this year, and he missed it. You will probably recall the one possession where McKinnon got back-to-back open threes on the left wing. Missed them both. I mean, he's a good shooter. Missed them both. And then Boston College got hot, and they started making shots. And LSU started coughing up the lead. Boston College made 5 of 6 at one point. That tied the game with 12:12 to go. And then LSU, from the 15:32 mark to the 11:41 mark, that's about 4 minutes of basketball, missed 7 shots in a row. And at that point, Boston College was kind of in control of the game. I mean, you got to give credit to Luka Taves, who looks like an 8th grader, but he was taking over the game. He was knocking down threes off the bounce, getting into the paint. He drew some contact, dished it, made a wraparound pass for an easy dunk. Like, he played great. And it looked like LSU just was having one of those nights. And I promise you, like, this team's 8-0, and we're going to talk about what happened in overtime and all that stuff. There are going to be days where you just don't shoot well. And if you play a good team, you're going to get beat. But LSU was playing a bad team last night. And to LSU's credit, and certainly Deion Thomas's credit, they gutted and they fought and they scrapped and they hung in there. They hung in there. And then Thomas hits the 2 shots at the end of the game to give LSU the tie. You have to defend one more time down there on Boston College's end. They inbound. They get it to Taves. You do a great job of contesting a long 3. He double clutches it, leaves it way short, and you get it to overtime. And Deion Thomas just took over. He scored the first 6 points of overtime, so that was 10 straight he scored in the game because he scored the last 4 of regulation, the first 6 of overtime. Boston College gets a bucket, and then Thomas to McKinnon for probably what was the dagger. Thomas drives left baseline, kicks it out to McKinnon. LSU couldn't buy a 3-pointer, and he buries it from the right elbow to give LSU a 7-point lead and really make it difficult for Boston College to come back. And BC reverted back to what they are, which is a bad team. And you look at their shooting statistics, and they ended up, I want to say they missed their last, I will have it here, they missed their last 10 shots in the game. And that started with the last 2 they took in regulation. They did not make a shot in overtime. LSU, conversely, in the overtime period, was perfect statistically shooting the ball. Perfect. They were 10 of 10 from the free throw line and made every one of their field goals. They were 3 for 3 on field goals. So LSU, when they had to have it, was really good. Boston College, when they had to have it, was not. And so for LSU, there's 2 things can be true. 2 things can be true. LSU gutted it out and found a way to win on the road against a power conference team shooting 3 of 19 from 3. That's 16%. And before overtime, they had shot 10 free throws and were not getting to the line like they had been. LSU played their C- game last night and won on the road. And you can take something very positive from that. I've talked to Matt McMahon about this in post-game press conferences because, you know, they lose games. You go, well, what did you learn about this and that? And he's very upfront about this. He's like, I don't want to learn from losses. I'll learn from wins. Like, you're going to learn from losses, but I don't want to do that. I'd rather win and learn. And this is that kind of game. Now, the flip side of that is you played your C- game. You played a bad team, and you were on the ropes. LSU was down 4 points with just over a minute to go in this game against a bad team. Boston College is bad. Boston College will not win 5 games in the ACC. They're bad. They're probably the worst team in the league. And LSU was on the ropes. And so that part of it is mildly concerning. But like I just said, you're going to have games where you don't shoot worth a flip. This is not the Golden State Warriors. You're going to have games you don't shoot worth a flip. And for LSU to come up big when they needed to make all 10 free throws, to make the clutch plays late was a credit to LSU. And you look at the final stat sheet and needed overtime to get there, but Deion Thomas scores 23. Marquel Sutton scores 18. He had another double-double. He was at 18 points and 13 rebounds. Max McKinnon had 12 points. Mike Nwoku had 12 points. It's pretty balanced, and you got what you needed out of this game, which was a road win. Those do count more for the net, and your net has creeped up to like 16. Now, I'm not going to mention that or give that any credence whatsoever in early December. It does not matter at all. You're going to play so many league games against really tough teams, but you've got games coming up, well, this one and then games coming up that are away from your building against power conference teams. You got to play SMU. You got to play Texas Tech. Like, you're playing some teams with Boston College, power conference teams, and none of them are in the PMAC. So these are games that can help your resume. And I realize there are probably some of you out there that are rolling your eyes at the thought of resume with LSU basketball. And I don't have a comeback for that. But I choose to look at it in that lens until I can't. Like last year, we had just launched LouisianaSports.net, and they played pretty good in the non-conference. So every single Monday, I did a resume review with the net and the whole deal. And I did it like 4 times. And then they were 1-7 in the league, and I stopped doing it. Like, I'll stop talking about it when it's time to stop talking about it. But right now, it's time to talk about it. And LSU is doing a good job. They're 8-0 for the first time since Will Wade's last year. And you've got a couple games that are winnable coming up against power conference teams. I think you're probably an underdog in Fort Worth on Sunday. I'll check the line for that when it comes out. But you're going to be an underdog in that game, I would imagine. And we'll see what you can do against SMU, who's played really well this year in New Orleans. Those are much tougher tests, even though they're not true road games. Much tougher test than this true road game because there's nobody in that building and Boston College stinks. But credit to LSU for gutting through a C+, C- game and finding a way to get it done. They showed what they can be. In the first half, they played great. At a stretch at the end of the game, they played great. There was just two stretches in the middle of 5 minutes where they couldn't throw it in the ocean. And they fought through it and got a win. So 78-69 is the final. LSU gets the win over Boston College, moves to 8-0. And you could be worse than 8-0, I promise you. We'll see what they can do on Sunday against Texas Tech in Fort Worth. We'll come back and close out the hour next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
First American Bank and Trust. Looking for a bank. How about First American Bank and Trust? If you work with a big national bank and you've got an issue here, you dial the 1-800 number and you're not sure where the call center is or whether or not that person can help you or get transferred to somewhere else, and you just have a lot of trouble dealing with your bank. Well, change. Go to First American Bank and Trust. They've been in Southeast Louisiana for 115 years, and they're not going anywhere. Say, well, is it this little bitty bank that can't help me with my commercial loan process? Absolutely not. 25 locations. They got plenty of resources to help you out with your commercial or personal loan. And all their decisions are made locally. All their call centers are here locally. You're talking to people that you walk around with in our community day after day after day. They're in St. Tammany. They're in Tangipahoa. They're down in St. James and St. John's and Lafourche and Terrebonne. They're here in Jones Creek over in Dutchtown. You're looking for a residential loan. You're looking for a commercial loan. Deal with First American Bank and Trust. It's First American Bank and Trust.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and First American Bank and Trust bring you the Heart of the Game Award, recognizing student athletes who deliver when it counts. Nominate your game day standout at 1045ESPN.com by the 21st. We'll choose 5 male and 5 female finalists, and then it's up to the fans to vote for the winners. Each winner gets a $250 gift card, a custom award, and the spotlight they've earned. Presented by First American Bank and Trust, a banking tradition since 1910.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith with Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan & Associates. We take great pride in educating our clients about their rights. Whether you're injured at work or while you drive, call our office at 272-5555. Knowledge is power, and you should know your rights after an injury.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan of Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan & Associates. When insurance companies have been unfair, we've never been afraid to go to trial. Fighting hard to protect your rights, we never settle a case out of convenience. We only settle when it's right for you. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's...
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Thursday shows brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. looking to get your clients a Christmas present this December, usually always go with that bag of pralines or just grab the wine en masse and send them out. Same thing every year. There's nothing wrong with that. Wonderful gift. But you can change it up. You can go buy half a cow from Sean Segura at Segura Farms and say, hey, we're going to get that individually wrapped and packaged. We'll get it to our clients. They can enjoy delicious ribeyes, fillets, strips, flanks, ground beef. From the top 1% beef in the country comes from Segura Farms, and your clients will be thrilled with it. If you want to do that, give Sean a call and make that the Christmas gift to your clients and your customers. All right, let's close out the hour. We reported last night at LouisianaSports.net. Wilson Alexander has it at The Advocate today as well. Austin Thomas will not be retained as LSU's general manager under Lane Kiffin. That's expected. Billy Glasscock was the general manager at Ole Miss for Lane Kiffin. He came with Lane on Sunday on the plane and has already been in serious discussions with LSU's signing class for this year. He was been in meetings Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, even today, and with prospective signees, and is learning the ropes and is going to run LSU's roster management department. And that was Austin Thomas's role. Austin Thomas had a great relationship with Scott Woodward, had a great relationship with Brian Kelly. He was integral in LSU going to the Seattle Seahawks and kind of learning how to run a salary cap and learning how to allocate resources in this new world of college football. And was integral in LSU's recruiting efforts as well with putting a roster together. And Austin Thomas and Lane Kiffin did work together in Oxford. That group split as Austin Thomas came to LSU, and I don't know what the feelings are. I get the sense not overwhelmingly positive between those two, but certainly not to the point where Austin Thomas would take that role and Billy Glasscock would be left out in the cold. So Austin Thomas is going to move out of that role. Now the question is what happens? I heard some folks in Oxford on Tuesday suggest that he may go to Ole Miss to take that role under Pete Golding because that position's vacant now in Oxford. And Wilson writes in The Advocate today that it's possible that Austin Thomas could find another role in LSU's athletic department. There are a lot of people in that athletic department that really like Austin Thomas. So Verge Osbury worked hand in hand with Scott Woodward, and Verge Osbury is now the AD, and I think would see value in having Austin Thomas around. I'll tell you this. I've had numerous interactions with Austin Thomas over the years. He is as nice, as professional as anybody. I try to be a fly on the wall or just out of the way more often than not in that football office when I'm there for 4 minutes on Fridays during the season to get an assistant coach interview and leave. I don't hang around and chat with everybody like they got work to do and it's not talk to me. So I get in, I get out of there. But I bump into Austin in the hall every single time. Says, hey, calls me by name. We don't go into, as I mentioned, like in-depth conversations because I'm getting out of there. But Austin's a great guy and I think has an incredible amount of respect in the college football community. And will land on his feet wherever it is. It's just a question of what he wants to do and what's available to him. I don't know what's available to him at LSU, and I don't know whether or not he would like to go back to Oxford or not. He's worked at Texas A&M as well. And these are big-time football programs, big-time football machines that he has worked in elevated roles with. Just a matter of what he decides to do. But I know that a lot of folks were questioning whether or not Austin Thomas would remain. There was a thought that Austin Thomas might be involved in hiring the next football coach if Scott Woodward was still around, and it turns out he was not. So that didn't work out. And then when Lane Kiffin becomes the hire, and those two have a history, and Austin Thomas left Oxford to come to LSU, you realize that that's probably not going to continue. So Austin Thomas's future in limbo right now just won't be with LSU as the general manager. As far as Billy Glasscock goes, to kind of dovetail off this to close out the hour, every single report that I've heard on Billy Glasscock in the last 72 hours has been very, very positive. Now, you realize that he's not intimately familiar in the way that he will be with the way that the LSU machine runs and with the way, with the players that LSU is dealing with. So this is all fairly new to him, but you got to learn on the fly because when you take this job on a Sunday and signing day is on Wednesday, you don't have a lot of time to figure things out. So you got to learn on the fly, you got to be adaptable, and you got to get it done. And there have been numerous meetings between players and Billy Glasscock, between high school coaches and Billy Glasscock, between agents and Billy Glasscock, Lane Kiffin there every step of the way. And our impression from the outside has been that those have been overwhelmingly positive. So I think the world of Austin Thomas, I hear great things about Billy Glasscock. I think Lane Kiffin will put Billy Glasscock in that role and feels he'll do a great job. And I have no doubt Austin will land on his feet. I just don't know what that role will be, whether that's here at LSU in some sort of administrative role or whether he takes another role somewhere in college football, perhaps in Oxford. We'll see. But we had that at LouisianaSports.net last night. You can read everything for free there, signing day tracker, stories about the recruits that LSU got and did not get earlier today, and the report on Austin Thomas. It's all there for free, as well as Saints information as they get ready for Tampa coming up on Sunday. So go check us out at LouisianaSports.net. If you missed any of the first hour, it was all LSU. You can find it at Hunt on LSU. Talked about signing period, I guess, now that we're right in the middle of that 3-day period. Talked about that and where LSU goes from here. Talked a little bit about Blake Baker and what his future may hold. I feel pretty good about where I stand on that, and I talked about it in the second segment. You can find that at Hunt on LSU. And then we talked a little bit about what LSU goes from here as far as the recruiting cycle. So you can check all that out at Hunt on LSU. We got a lot to do in the second hour as well. Chris Blair's with us in 20 minutes. We'll talk with Luke Johnson in 30 minutes from right now. Pause for Short Center. We'll come back and do some more LSU talking when we come back on this Thursday.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Marucci Hitter's House. Marucci Hitter's House. You got a high school youth baseball player, high school youth softball player in your house? Marucci Hitter's House is an awesome place to go for incredible savings on great, great brands. You're talking about Marucci, Victus, Balm, Lizard Skin, the Sable. It's a superstore for baseball and softball, and you can get some golf and athletic wear at Marucci as well. So if you want some footwear, cleats, trainers, on and off the field, you're looking good, they got you covered at Marucci Hitter's House. If you go on the Marucci campus tour at Hitter's House, you get 20% off that same day. So if you want to book tickets to go on that campus tour, MarucciSports.com/campus-tour. MarucciSports.com/campus-tour. You can go on that tour and get 20% off. The sale runs November the 28th through December 14th, Monday through Friday, 11 to 6. It's the Hitter's House over at Marucci.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Blessed Children's School.
Make your backyard's dream come true while helping our kids.
Just go to dreampoolla.com and you can find out how your $25 donation might help win you a Duplessis pool.
Attention diesel mechanics. River Parish Contractors has an immediate full-time opening with benefits. Valid licenses and TWIC card is required to apply. Call or text Big Jake today at 985-479-9858 or go to rpcontractors.com and click on Apply Now. Come be part of the team that values hard work, has a high standard of excellence, and delivers projects on time and safely. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Lockmeyer to Sean Fagan and Associates has won for our clients over $175 million over the decades, but our greatest success is our clients who have chosen and trusted us to help them. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call. You've got nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan. If you get injured, you could be staring at medical bills, repair costs, and lost income. Life can be turned upside down. At Lock Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, we'll work to turn your world right side up. Hire us, and like thousands of our clients, you'll be glad you did.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. A massive matchup from Motown kicking off NFL Week 14. Lions hosting the Cowboys. Both teams in the hunt in the NFC. Detroit a game and a half out of the final NFC wildcard spot. Dallas 2 back. Lions receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown, game time decision, sprained ankle. Detroit needs him out there tonight, explains Lions radio analyst Lomas Brown.
He's the heart and soul of our offense. He's Jarrett's security blanket. He's a guy that you know if you tell him to run a 12-yard in, he's going to run a 12-yard in. He's going to be where he needs to be at, and he's reliable. When you kind of take your heart and soul out of this offense, it's just so hard to just try to replace him.
Lomas Brown on game night. Eagles defensive tackle Jalen Carter out Monday night against the Chargers after undergoing a procedure on both shoulders. Veteran corner Darius Slay claimed off waivers by the Bills yesterday. Unsure if he wants to continue playing. Won't report to Buffalo. NBA Bucks star Giannis Antetokounmpo out 2 to 4 weeks with a right calf strain suffered in last night's win.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Friday, I'll tell you why the Chiefs dynasty could end with a loss to the Texans this week. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
A magic beyond anything you could ever imagine.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day.
You really think that's the best idea?
Live from the Raising Cane studio, this is Hunt Palmer.
It's quite a piece of work.
Hour 2 on a Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Hope y'all are staying dry relatively out there. If you're in South Louisiana, it has been a miserable day of weather. It's cold, it's rainy, it's going to get dark early. Just not my favorite time of year in terms of weather. It is just not, but that's okay. I hope y'all are getting around safely and appreciate you making us part of your Thursday. We'll talk to Chris Blair in 15 minutes. Luke Johnson talking Saints and Bucks coming up at the bottom of the hour. This segment is going to be regarding very serious content, but doing so in a very lighthearted way, because I fully admit I don't understand all the ins and outs here, and I just think it's humorous the way that politics and sports have gotten so massively intertwined. Some of it is necessary. Some of it I find very, very humorous. Some of it I find a little bit embarrassing. But it's unavoidable at this point. I'm looking at Ross Dellinger's Twitter, and now you've got a Mississippi politician, a Democrat, bashing Mike Johnson and Steve Scalise, Louisiana Republicans, over the SCORE Act, which I'll get into in a second, calling it the Lane Kiffin Act. This is just a whole quibble over rivalries at this point when we're dealing with hundreds of millions, billions of dollars in this SCORE Act. If you're not familiar with what the SCORE Act is, you're not alone. And I couldn't write a 3-page paper on the SCORE Act. I couldn't. I'm aware of it. But Ross could, and Ross can talk about it, and Ross goes on Matt's show and talks about it a lot. But I'll give you kind of some highlights here. It's the government getting involved in collegiate athletics from a financial perspective because of the amount of dollars and cents that are being funneled into it and how they're being funneled into it. You're dealing with the NIL and uniform standards for that. You're dealing with student athletes not being employees of institutions and conferences. You're dealing with the revenue sharing aspect. You're dealing with athletic revenues providing mental health programs, tax services, career counseling, medical coverages for energies. You're dealing with antitrust protections. You're dealing with the preservation of non-revenue sports. There are huge concerns with where money goes in collegiate athletics right now. And we know that some has to go to the players, and we know that the coaches are receiving a ton, and we know their facilities, and we know that a lot of folks are gearing money certain ways, which may cut other things out in terms of scholarships or even whole sports. And like, y'all get that part of it. And I'm not here to dive into the ins and outs of the SCORE Act and what's good and what's not. Like, because I'm not good at that, y'all. I'm good at talking about who's got what left in a regional pitching rotation come Monday evening. I'm good at determining what you need to do in the last 30 seconds of a basketball game on defense or offense. I like talking about statistics and trends and those types of things. I don't know anything about the SCORE Act or who's voting for it or who's not or how it benefits LSU. Like, I'm just not any good at that. But I do think it's humorous when the politicians get to bickering and name-calling. And you've got a quote here from Ross Dellinger from the House Minority Leader, Jeffries from Minnesota, and the quote is, "Why would Mike Johnson and Steve Scalise agree to bring the Lane Kiffin Protection Act to the floor? Legislation that will do nothing to benefit athletes and everything to benefit coaches like Lane Kiffin, who abandoned players in a playoff run for a $100 million contract at LSU." This is being said on the House floor, which he may disagree with the SCORE Act. He may, but the fact is that he is more bitterly opposed to it because the state over, with politicians on the other side of the aisle who have a coach that just abandoned his state school in a playoff, and now they're quibbling over this on the House floor after Lane Kiffin just abandoned, and he's renaming the bill. Not the SCORE Act, it's the Lane Kiffin Abandonment Act, Lane Kiffin Protection Act. And it just gets me giggling because you saw Marco Rubio sitting next to Donald Trump, and he's saying, "I'm a Florida Gator, but if Miami gets left out of this playoff, I'm going to get Trump to pick the playoff teams." And you heard Jeff Landry twice in a press conference that wasn't even about collegiate athletics. You heard him say twice that I'll let Trump pick the next coach. I'll let Trump pick the next coach. And this is what we're dealing with. Like, they're so intertwined. And I realize this is not new. Huey Long was doing this 100 years ago. So it's not new. But it just does make me chuckle at times that there are so many issues that need to be handled in this great country and great state that we live in here. And at every turn, I'm looking around and politicians are yapping about what's good and bad in sports. Now, again, to go back to my original point, I understand that when you're talking about billions of dollars that are coming through state universities with employees of those universities, and then whether or not the student athletes who attend those schools, there needs to be some oversight, because we all are very, very well aware that the NCAA is not capable of dealing with all this. They have proven themselves completely incapable of governing this thing. They kicked the can down the road on NIL so long that it just hit them in the face, and we had ridiculousness for 5 years. So, I get that part of it, and there probably does need to be some sort of overarching governing body that can put some guardrails on this thing, okay? But this is less about that for me right now, because I don't have the solution to that. I'm not smart enough to figure out how to make this thing on the up and up. But it's more about the fact that every time I turn around, there's people getting involved. And you've got political elected officials petitioning the College Football Playoff Committee, whose chair is changing. And then the new chair, Hunter Yurachek's going on ESPN and doing 6-7 jokes. And this is the sport. This is what I've literally committed my entire career to. It's my livelihood, is to talk about this sport. And I've got 6-7 jokes. I've got politicians renaming bills on the floor. I've got multiple elected officials saying Trump needs to pick football coaches and Trump needs to pick, none of this happens in Major League Baseball. None of it. In Major League Baseball, if the Rockies play the Braves, the governor of Atlanta and the governor of Colorado agree on a trade. That's what you get from elected officials. But in college, it's a complete freaking circus. You bring out the elephants. You bring out the clowns. You get the popcorn and peanuts. It's a circus. And we love it. And that's amazing. It's just, and I mean that in the truest sense, not how awesome it is. It truly amazes when you look at the dysfunction and you look at the answers that Hunter Yurachek gives and the outrage that creates and the fact that nobody can settle on rules and the coaches hate them and they change it and then they hate that one and then Lane Kiffin leaves for LSU in the middle of the playoff run because that's what the calendar says. So everyone in Mississippi is ticked off and like it's crazy, y'all. It's crazy. And it gets crazier every single day. And like that's the point that I'm arriving at here. There is nothing in my life in terms of my personal interest. Not talking about my career, not talking about my kids or my wife or my immediate family or like those types of things that are the most important thing in your life. But you talk about just interests, hobbies. There's nothing in my life that I like more than collegiate athletics. It is my favorite hobby in the world that I turn into a career. And you look at this from 10,000 feet and go, huh? Maybe I should take up archery or something that doesn't involve this much tomfoolery. It's every day with something new. And today, it's the House floor in Washington, D.C., politicians from Mississippi and Louisiana bickering over a multi-billion-dollar bill, essentially because the coach left one state for another. Like, that's what we've gotten to. What a beautiful disaster this all is. Let's talk to Chris Blair about it when we come back. That's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
This menu is a masterpiece, delivers every time.
This is the worst party ever. Raisin Cane's!
Let's go!
The party is saved!
Peter, Mr. Billingsley.
Celebrate the holidays with Raisin Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love.
Investing in a new roof doesn't have to be overwhelming. At Pelican Roofing, we offer 0 interest for 21 months because everyone deserves a safe, secure home. Trusted, local, affordable. Pelican Roofing, making quality roofing affordable for South Louisiana families.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. We are honored and humbled to receive from our clients in Google. Based on 5-star client reviews, the designation of our law firm is highly recommended. Whether you hire us at all, please give us a call, 272-5555. You have nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith. Injuries happen when you least expect them to, making your life more complicated. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, we know this and we strive to help each of our clients during these times. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home, with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Thursday shows brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Chugging towards the weekend. Luke Johnson in 15 minutes talking black and gold. Stick with the Tigers now. Voice of the Tigers, Chris Blair, good enough to give us some time on Thursday. It's with us now on the Jim's Farms Hotline. Chris, how are you?
Good, man. Trying to recover late night from Boston flying in, but a good win for LSU and Coach Matt McMahon.
How was the weather up there in Boston?
It was cold. It was rainy. I think we took off somewhere around 1:15 Eastern, and then the weather when we got to Baton Rouge was pretty tough, so they diverted us to New Orleans, and then a bus ride back to Baton Rouge, and I walked in the door about 7:30.
Yuck. Not great. We appreciate you being here. Sorry to call you. You should have told me not to call. But
No, got them up and running now.
All right, let's talk about that game last night because it was so good early. It was so bad in the middle, and it was so good late. What did you see from courtside?
Yeah, it's one of those games that I think you can hang your hat on if you're leaning in the optimistic view of this team, Hunt, and I think you and I are, in the sense that, they really didn't shoot the ball well outside of maybe the first 7-8 minutes of the game, and they were red hot and built up an early lead, and you could kind of see, wow, this is kind of what we thought it would be, a team averaging about 90 points and a team averaging about 70 points. But credit Boston College. I think they made some adjustments defensively. They went with their two bigs to try to neutralize Nwoko, especially in the second half after he came back in, getting early foul trouble in the first half. I thought they did a good job of kind of denying, his ability to hang around the rim. Also frustrated him a little bit. And then LSU just didn't hit shots. But Coach Brady says it all the time. Defense and rebounding will travel. That's a want to. That's an attitude. That's a mindset. And I think last night's game was a perfect example where, you had guys who typically their shots, we've seen them make them through the first 8 games, and they just did not go down time and time again. And I give DJ Thomas a ton of credit. It would be easy to get frustrated. He missed a couple of shots, the little floaters in the lane that he normally gets. But you still felt like down the stretch, to get it to overtime and then into overtime, it was going to take either DJ, Markelle, or Nwoko to kind of take the game over. And as it turned out in overtime, it was DJ Thomas who finished the last 4 points. And really in a crazy anomaly stat-wise. LSU perfect from the field, perfect from the line, perfect from the three-point line, and Boston College 0 for 8 in overtime, which you just don't see that often. But again, I think credit goes to LSU's defense. When they had to get some plays and get some stops, they got them.
I thought it was the first real adversity of the season for LSU where they just simply couldn't make a bucket. And to respond to that, I thought showed a lot of poise on the road. I wouldn't call it a hostile environment. You would know better than I. But to respond to it on the road, I thought was impressive. And it kind of showed, I think when their back's against the wall, likely Thomas is going to be the guy that they hand it to and say, hey, we need you here.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. And Coach Brady, I mean, he's seen some really good players, not only ones that played for him, but those that played against him and those that we see now. I mean, he's certainly making an argument for the best point guard in the SEC. I mean, it's impossible to really stop him on the dribble. And it's been amazing. And again, the competition is going to get better. The film's going to get out there. So I think the teams are going to make adjustments, and it may start as soon as this weekend against Texas Tech. But so many teams this year, Hunt, have just kind of let him operate, 70-plus feet before anybody gives him any friction. And when you do that, you're just asking for trouble. And there were a couple of times where he knifed through the defense. I mean, started top of the key and went left, went right, crossover behind the back, and suddenly he's at the rim. He's hard once he's going downhill to stop.
He is. Last one on basketball, unfortunately, on the negative side. Jalen Reed, just feel awful for the young man after fighting back from last year's injury to go out again. I know you spent a lot of time around him over the last 4 years, and it's really brutal for him. But I do feel like LSU, unlike last year, is equipped to handle that absence a little bit better with the depth they have in the front court. Kind of your thoughts on that entire situation, one with Jalen and two with the guys that are going to be asked to fill in for him.
Yeah, I mean, when I think about the unfairness of what is taking place for Jalen Reed, a guy who has put in all the work, last year on December 3rd, set, for the end of the season with the knee injury, and then just fought his way back, got back ahead of schedule, and was, to all indications, bigger, faster, and stronger. And then to have this injury, almost a year to the day, to sideline him again for a season, it's just unfair. And it's just a tough break. And I talked to Coach while we were in Boston for 2 days about, how do you kind of handle that? And he said, it's going to need more minutes. I mean, Nwoko's going to have to find a way to avoid getting into early foul trouble, but he's going to have to learn to play with fouls. And Rob Miller is going to be a big X factor. And, last night I think he played, around 25 minutes, somewhere in that neighborhood. And again, Nwoko got into foul trouble early, but, Robert finished the game in the positive column. I think he was +4 for the game. With 8 points and 5 rebounds. And, we saw some flashes from him at the end of last year. So I think there were times maybe early this season he was frustrated with the lack of playing time, but that's going to go away now. He's going to be called upon. And, at times we may see Markel Sutton kind of slide down to the 4 position, which we saw a little bit last night. And again, he's got the skill set to do it, but it's going to take a team effort. But I think Rob Miller could be a huge factor. His opportunity to contribute is going to be there, and it'll start again. It started last night, and it'll continue this weekend.
Shift over to football. I have not talked about the LSU-Oklahoma game once. It is Thursday, so I might as well toss it to you since you were there. Heck of an effort by the defense. Just one busted play there at the end. What was your impression of Blake Baker's defense there in Norman?
Yeah, I mean, it was tough. I mean, that was the storyline. I mean, you got 2 pedestrian offenses and 2 really good defenses. And, I think I said it multiple times before kickoff and then early in the game. I just felt like when you look at what these 2 offenses, struggle with and the strengths of these 2 defenses, it felt like whatever defense blinked first and blinked the most. And as it turned out, you nailed it. It was one busted play where we let a man just go free in Satania. He did a similar thing to Missouri the week before, I think on an 87-yard touchdown. I think this one against LSU was 58 yards. You take that play away, and still LSU with a chance late, obviously, but that's what it came down to. And, I think things have been done over the last couple of days while I was in the Northeast to remedy those offensive woes.
Yeah, they have. Have you chatted with your color man, Jake Hester, say you're going to have to be a little bit quicker with the analysis of the plays because they're going to snap it pretty fast?
Yeah, it's going to be moving quick. We got practice over the last couple of years playing Ole Miss, so when they're on offense, we knew there wasn't a whole lot for, going on and droning and bloviating. You got to get to the point. But, yeah, it's exciting. I mean, it was exciting being in Boston, walking around. People would see us, and immediately that's all they wanted to talk about. Well, we're here for football. But, yeah, what about Lane Kiffin? Yeah, what's that going to be like? I mean, that's what even those up there were interested in. So it's obviously a huge story.
We'll let you get some rest here this afternoon. I know you all are headed to Fort Worth for Sunday's game against Texas Tech. You got a thought on that before I let you go?
Yeah, I mean, you said it. This was probably the most adversity LSU had faced last night on the road against Boston College, and we're able to overcome it with defense and really a dedication to rebounding. This will be obviously the biggest test of the year. I mean, obviously Texas Tech, a really good program over the last several years, and they're loaded up again this season. It's on a neutral floor. Hoping to see a lot of Tiger fans there. I think your team at 9-0 deserves that. But it'll be a good measuring stick and a big opportunity to take on a team as LSU continues to climb in the net rankings. You get a chance to play a team that's also high in the net rankings, pull out a win. I mean, suddenly things you start to really create your own fortune, if you know what I mean. So big opportunity.
Chris, we appreciate some time. We'll be listening on Sunday. Thanks.
You got it, boss.
He's the voice of the Tigers. Chris Blair gives us some time on Thursday. As he mentioned, LSU headed up to play Texas Tech on Sunday. I'll preview that game tomorrow. Looking forward to that. That's clearly LSU's most stern test of the season. So looking forward to see how they respond to that. Going to have to play a really good basketball game. If they play like they did in the first 15 minutes on last night, they'll be okay. If they play like they did in the last 6 minutes last night, they'll be okay. They play like they did for about a 12-minute stretch in the second half, they'll get crushed. But that's the beauty of going out there and tipping it off. Never know what you're going to see. So appreciate Chris for giving us a little bit of time. I have a little bit of time here before I get to Luke Johnson, so I'll tell you all a little bit of breaking news, not necessarily regarding LSU in the last 15 minutes. Kentucky has hired an offensive coordinator.
Who is this guy?
Joe Sloan, going to be the new offensive coordinator at Kentucky. He'll go join the staff with Will Stein. Now, I'll tell you, Will Stein is the head coach at Kentucky. He's going to finish out the season where he's the offensive coordinator at Oregon, and then they're going to go into the Bluegrass and be the head coach at Kentucky. And Will Stein played at Louisville, was a GA there for a couple of years, GA at Texas. He actually took a divert over to Lake Travis High School, where he was their associate head coach and offensive coordinator at the big-time high school there in Austin. Went over to UTSA, coached for 3 seasons, and then was hired from UTSA to be the offensive coordinator and quarterback coach for Dan Lanning, and has done a great job over the last 3 seasons. Kentucky hires him as their head coach, and he will bring Joe Sloan to Kentucky with him. So Stein is going to have a massive input in what Oregon does offensively, but Joe Sloan will be the offensive coordinator. Clearly way too early to know who's calling plays and what that whole situation is.
Man.
But Joe Sloan lands on his feet in the SEC.
Man, my condolences to Blue. What is it, Big Blue Nation? My
It is the
condolences.
BBN.
Yeah, my condolences, man. Don't worry. We're in basketball season. Just focus on that.
I promise you, they will focus on that. You don't need to tell them twice; they'll be focused on that.
My gosh.
I had some interactions with Joe Sloan, as I mentioned, going up to do the assistant coach interviews on Fridays. Another great guy who enjoyed his time here, and as his time here ended poorly, and he was let go because of it. And he would tell you that their statistics this year were unacceptable. They could not run the ball again. The passing game crumbled. He didn't do a good enough job this year. There's no question about that. But Joe Sloan was a part of Jaden Daniels, Mike Denbrock development there, and did help a quarterback to over 4,000 yards last year and finished first in the SEC in third downs. It wasn't a complete failure until it just flopped this year. Now, I know 98% of y'all driving around in the car going, God, you're such a homer loser. Although I was told yesterday that I was too much of a pessimist. So
really?
I think in that way, it just you rub people the right different ways. It doesn't really matter. I'm just telling you what I think. I think that Joe Sloan didn't do a good enough job to keep that job this year. And I think that Joe Sloan's entire run here in Baton Rouge was not a complete failure. And now he'll get a chance to land on his feet. I'm glad for that. I'm glad for Joe that he lands on his feet at Kentucky, and we'll see what his role is there under very offensive-minded head coach. But glad to see him land on his feet there in the Southeastern Conference. Joe Sloan headed to Kentucky to be the offensive coordinator under Will Stein. We'll step aside. We'll come back. We'll chat Saints with Luke Johnson next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. I was chatting with David recently. He said, what's something that y'all have seen more of, that y'all have done more of recently? He said, this is very, very popular. If you're in a house that was built in the 90s at some point, so you're looking at a house that is around 30 years old, at that point, a lot of times some of the plumbing situation, some of the bathtub, shower situations can start to malfunction, can start to deteriorate. And sometimes you just want to do a quick fix and you call the handy guy down the street and give him some cash and he tries to figure it out and maybe patch that up for 6 months, 8 months, and then there's another issue. Well, you can go ahead and do something about it. A lot of those bathrooms were done with those big, giant jacuzzi-style tubs that no one ever uses anymore, or they don't work. If that's the case, you know how much space those use? Take that out and use that space for a shower that you will use. If you've already got a standing shower, like a lot of those houses did in the 90s, you can turn that into a linen closet, which David Duvall and One Bath and Closets can do. They can handle the flooring. They can handle the vanity. They can do a complete transformation of your bathroom if it's dated or if it's not working properly. Let someone with a licensed, bonded, insured business of 30-plus years, let somebody with a master plumber certified to come in and help you with that. It's One Bath and Closets. You can find them online, onebathandclosets.com.
Every winner knows a great play starts with a solid game plan and the right team by your side. At Sunshine, we're here to keep your operation running strong. From tractors to harvesters, we've got the John Deere equipment you need to tackle every job with confidence. Because when the work's done right, there's more time for the things that matter, like cheering on your favorite team. Make Sunshine Quality Solutions part of your playbook this season and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
I'm lawyer Collins Locke Meredith. Among the most important factors to consider when you're hiring an injury attorney is trust. You trust your attorney will put your interest first, treat you with respect, fairness, and honesty. You trust them to be there for you when you need them. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, thousands of clients have trusted us to represent them, and for good reasons. Please visit us at LockeMeredith.com to learn more, and whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555. You have nothing to lose.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs. Set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free confidential help now.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to South.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
All right, been a lot going on in our backyard here, so we hadn't talked a lot about the Saints this week. Let's change that. Let's talk about the Saints as they try to rebound from a loss last week at Miami. They will travel to Tampa coming up on Sunday. Luke Johnson covers them for NOLA.com and The Advocate with us now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Luke, how we doing?
Hunt, my guy, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
It's our pleasure. Let's go briefly back to the game against Miami. A tale of two halves, essentially, and it's another bad start for the Saints. Like, how do they fix that?
I mean, I don't know, man. I think their run game is broken. They've got one time in the last 8 games that they topped 90 yards in a game on the ground. And it hasn't mattered whether it's been Alvin Kamara, Kendra Miller was part of that for a little bit, Devin Neal. I think their interior offensive line is just broken. And when you're kind of one-dimensional, as they have been, it just makes it really hard to win. They got into a lot better situations in the second half. They ran the ball a little bit better in the second half, but it's hard for them to sustain that over the course of a game. And it magnifies other things. Tyler Shuck had 2 off-target throws in the first half, noticeably off target. And they both came on third down on makeable third downs. One was low to Mason Tipton on a 3rd and 7 where Tipton wasn't able to get any yards after the catch, got tackled a yard shy of the sticks. And then another one was on 3rd and 4. He has Juwan Johnson open, and he kind of lets the ball drift toward the middle of the field where a defender is able to make a play on it. So you get a couple plays there, and who knows what happens. I mean, Shuck came to life in the second half, but when you're looking at the first half in totality, I mean, they had 63 net yards. They had 4 out of their first 5 drives for 3 and outs. The only one that wasn't was a fumble on the 4th play of the drive. So it's when it's bad, it's really bad. And then when it looks good, you're like, you can see some hope there. So I don't know. It's really just hard to square with these guys.
It is, but they've figured things out in the second half, to your point, in multiple games, and they came alive in the second half and gave themselves a chance to win. So do you see something significantly different in the second half, or you think they just ease into a game and figure some things out as they go?
Well, I mean, part of it is your team's playing differently when they're protecting
Sure.
for Miami it was a 16-point lead, and we've seen that. They have played a lot of catch-up ball this year, which I think can lead to some things opening up for you. But I think in the second half frankly they just made plays. Tyler Shuck opened that second half with 6 straight completions, and every single one of them went for a first down. They didn't have a play of more than 10 yards the entire first half. So like each of those first 6 completions went for more than 11 yards. It's there, but I do think that the game script does have something to do with that, and teams will defend you differently, and it'll open up more stuff because they know, like, if you're going to have to put together 10, 11, 12 play drives, and we're holding a 16-point lead, we feel pretty good about that.
When you look at Shock, I think the thing that probably gives Saints fans the most encouragement is the highlight reel plays. Do you need to see more efficiency and consistency, or is the highlight plays enough to look like this guy really could be the deal?
Yeah. So for me, I think when Shuck was being named the starter, the outlook I had on this originally was, yes, you would love to win some games with Tyler Shuck. You'd love to see some. You'd love to see some just like full, complete performances to really just put you at ease, right? And I think I still want to see some of that, but really the most important thing is that you are seeing consistent high-level traits. He's not going to develop the same way Jackson Dart is, right? That's the one thing where I think his age does become a factor. Like, there's not going to be like huge leaps that he makes, probably. But if he shows you that he has some truly, I don't even want to say elite, just like you can see like a top 15 quarterback there in moments. And if the lows aren't so bad that you're like, we can't live with this guy. That's to me, like that is enough to roll with him and build around him. And I think he has shown that, honestly. Like, I think in every single game, even the ones that have gone poorly, like the Rams game, you've seen some really brilliant moments out of him. And it's coming in a lot of different ways. He's been excellent in the scramble phase, extending plays, letting guys get open downfield and then ripping it to him. But he's been good in the pocket, and he's navigated the pocket really well. And I think we haven't even seen a lot of him as a runner, which I think is something that he can be really dangerous at. We saw a little bit of it on the 2-point conversion play last week. The one that worked for the Saints, not the one that went the other way for a score for Miami. So like, I'm encouraged by what I've seen. I think for me, like, I've seen enough good things over the first 4 starts to be like, yeah, like I think I'd be comfortable building around him and giving him a year to show what he can do. Because like the highs, I think, have been much more pronounced than the lows have been.
One of the lows for this team was the first game against Tampa in the Dome. Shuck and Rattler split that game. It was when Shuck took over in the second half. Rattler's QBR in that game was 11.9. Shuck's was 6.4. They threw East threw an interception, no touchdowns, and the Saints ran it 15 times for 48 yards. How do they do anything against the Bucs defense this time around?
Yeah, I think it's going to have to be Shuck carrying the load.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I just referenced, their rushing attack has just been abysmal this year. I think they're 29th in the NFL in rushing, and it's felt that way. They've had like 1 or 2 games where it's really looked good, and I think the offense as a whole looked good because of it. But they're generating no explosives. They're getting way, way, way too many plays that are stuffed for 1 or 2 yards on first down, and Tampa is a really good run defense. They have been for years, and they are again this year. But if you look at when this defense has had trouble, and granted it has come against some really, really good passers. When they were in that 3-game losing streak to New England and LA and Buffalo, they were giving up like 300 yards a game through the air in those games. But then last week they played against the Cardinals with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. They threw for 291 on them.
Yeah.
So I think they're gettable there in the air. But like it's going to have to be like a Tyler Shuck game to me, unless like something just clicks out of nowhere with this rushing attack that it just frankly has not been good this season.
Reason for encouragement with Devon Bailey last week?
Yeah, man. Like, come on, dude. Like, how the hell did it get to be week 13 before we saw it?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, it's obvious to you and me, right? Like, that they needed to get him involved. I mean, beyond just like the price they paid for him, right? It's like, yeah, obviously, if you're going to pay a 4th-round pick for a guy, like, get him involved. But like, he has, like, you're looking at a 6'5", 210-pound guy. You're like, why aren't they throwing him the ball? And then the first time they do it, he has 8 catches for 93 yards and a touchdown. It's like, oh, okay, do that more. Hey, they got 5 games left. I want to see 40 targets at least for Bailey over the last 5 games. Like, there's no reason they can't get there. Just feature him in Olave. It was really, really impressive what he did last week. Hopefully we see a lot more of it because I think he's a good player.
We shall see. It'll be the Saints and the Bucks Sunday noon on CBS from Tampa. Luke will be there. We'll talk to him next week. Thanks, Luke.
Yep. See you, buddy.
Luke Johnson, NOLA.com, at @ByLukeJohnson on Twitter if you're looking for your Saints content. He's with us on Thursdays. Our Saints content, you can see it at Hunt on Saints over there on YouTube, wherever you find your sound. Saints going to score a touchdown this week, Jordan? They didn't quite get there against Tampa last time.
Oh, I got to say yeah. I
appreciate
you
that.
know, I just have to say yes.
I appreciate you saying yes.
You know, this is not LSU versus Oklahoma where it's like, you know, this is, you know, I mean, maybe Shuck can, you know, I'm not going to act like Shuck's been bad or anything. So I think he can make something shake for sure.
I'm watching LSU highlights up there on the TV. DJ Pickett's making a lot of plays. I hope DJ Pickett plays for LSU next year. And I feel like he has a good chance to because you saw Haven Finney sign his paperwork yesterday, which I forgot to mention in the first segment. And I didn't talk about him yesterday, but Haven Finney did sign, and that would indicate to me there's a good chance Corey Raymond is back because Haven Finney said publicly, like to see what Corey Raymond's going to do.
Yep.
So feel like Haven Finney, good one to come in. Got DJ Pickett, got PJ Woodland, and I think those guys want to play for Corey Raymond. So hopefully you can keep him around, keep those guys around, and form a really good DBU secondary moving into next year. But that's just me talking based on what I'm looking at on the TV screen in the studio, which is generally not how we run the show, but I get distracted sometimes when good stuff's going on, and that was good stuff. So we'll come back and close it up.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. Perfect example of why Swing Easy Golf Club is awesome. You might love golf. You might want to play golf today. You might want to work on your golf game today, and you can't because it's been raining since 2 o'clock in the morning and it's 40-something degrees. You can't go play golf, but you can at Swing Easy Golf Club. You go into one of their indoor bays, got perfect hitting mat to hit off of. You got comfortable seating. You can bring some cold beer in there. You got some music. You hit some golf balls. You tee it up at Pebble Beach. I love playing on the simulator. If you've never done it, give it a shot. It's surprisingly accurate. When I was doing that stream a couple of weeks ago at Swing Easy, it could tell when I was hitting a Titleist Pro V1 and when I was hitting a beat-up Strixon. Like the ball was reacting on the green. With the Pro V1, it was spinning back. With the Strixon, it was bouncing out, which is what it would happen if you played out on outdoors. And the technology that's in there at Swing Easy can identify that for you. So it is pretty realistic. When you go play, you hit chip shots, you hit putts, and it's a great way to just go enjoy playing some golf when the weather's garbage like it is today. They're on Segan at Perkins. Just go by and give them a shot. If you're an avid golfer, if you're just picking the game up, if you want to practice, if you'd like to play, if you got friends, if you're by yourself, no matter the situation, Swing Easy is a great place to go hang out and play a little bit of golf. They're online at swingeasygcbr.com. They're on Segan at Perkins. It's Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Blessed Builders School.
Make your backyard's dream come true while helping our kids.
Just go to dreampoolla.com and you can find out how your $25 donation might help win you a Duplessis pool.
With all all the delicious chicken finger options, it was an impossible decision.
How about a box combo? Good. Now what can I get for you?
No, I want a Caniac combo with extra cane sauce, no slaw, 2 extra toast, and a half sweet tea, half lemonade.
Celebrate the holidays with Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and for more information, visit louisianapropane.com.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs, set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free, confidential help now.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. If you're battling an insurance company because of a wreck not your fault and they're not calling you back or being fair, whether you hire us at all, give us a call, 272-5555, or email Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates. You have nothing to lose.
Hello, I'm Collins Meredith. If you've been injured on the job, you likely have a workers' compensation claim, but you may also have a tort claim which opens up significant recovery rights not normally available for a work injury. If this is you, call us or come see us at Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates.
Investing in a new roof doesn't have to be overwhelming. At Pelican Roofing, we offer 0 interest for 21 months because everyone deserves it.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Every cow at Sagrera Farms, you're talking about a process from the genetic mating of these superior animals to them being raised on grass, finished on grain, then dry aged 30 to 45 days. It creates an amazingly consistent product at Sagrera Farms. You're talking about top 1% of beef in the country, and it's right here just outside of Baton Rouge. So in 2026, you're looking to change the way that you buy your beef. You want to go to Sagrera Farms, get a whole cow, get a side, get a quarter, and put that in the freezer so you've got it when you need some ground beef. You've got it when you're ready to do steaks on a Friday or Saturday night. You want ribeyes, you want fillets, you want strips, you want that flank steak, you want that skirt steak, you want that chuck roast, and you want it to be incredibly marbled and tender and flavorful. Prime. That's what it is at Sagrera Farms. So call Sean. Tell him you heard about it on the Hunt Palmer Show. Say, hey, I want to talk about some beef because I'm ready to fill my freezer with some of the most delicious, flavorful beef in the country. You can do that. 719-1723, Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. We have breaking news twofold. 2 breaking news stories to finish the show with. The first one, I know you're all interested in. I just got a picture of my kid who's at Disney World with his grandmother, and I told him that Disney World had the biggest golf ball in the world. That thing at Epcot, it's a big ride.
Epcot?
Yeah. He's there. He's pointing at it. So that's breaking news. Myers pointing at the big golf ball. 2, the actual breaking news that you care about. Richard Anderson's paperwork is in at LSU. Big Rich officially signed with the LSU Tigers. We told you right at the top of the show, almost 2 full hours ago, that Bryce Brown told our Matt Moscona, yeah, there's a clerical error yesterday. He will have it in after testing this morning. I said, I believe Bryce Brown. He's the coach there. He has no reason to lie to us. So we reported at LouisianaSports.net. But I also went, what was this clerical error? Like, can we just resend the fax over? Are they still doing faxes? Or we got some sort of scanned PDF? Can we just make the change? Like, what kind of clerical error are we dealing with that takes that long to get it dealt with? Because he said he was going to sign 24 hours ago. But I don't really care about the clerical error now because the clerical error has been fixed up. And Richard Anderson, 5-star, number 1 defensive tackle in the country out of Edna Carr, has sent his paperwork into LSU. So the wait still remains for Lamar Brown. We're told that he is expected to sign his paperwork tomorrow. Right now, it sounds like LSU in great shape. I have no reason to believe that LSU won't be the pick tomorrow. I know that there were discussions that Richard Anderson and his representation, Lamar Brown and his representation were going to have with the LSU staff. And, obviously things got ironed out with Big Rich, and we'll see what happens with Lamar Brown moving forward. But Big Richard Anderson, a official member of LSU's signing class. One more day to go with the early signing period. We'll see what happens over the next 24 hours, and we'll certainly talk about it on tomorrow's show. But we have one more order of business for this show. Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
It's a cool thing when you think about Yingling. Go to their website and check on their team, their executive team. They're all literally Yinglings. You're talking about a family business that has been passed down generation to generation to generation. I was talking to one of the reps over at Yingling a couple weeks ago. He said, yeah, Sam Yingling's like 93. He still rides the tractor around. Like, it's a family business. America's oldest brewery. It's a family business that you're purchasing when you get Flight by Yingling. It's the next generation of light beer.
Okay, so a lot of people like to say demon is home. Well, a real demon is home, as the Browns have designated Deshaun Watson to return to practice, opening a 21-day window to which, he can be moved to the active roster or placed on injury reserve for the rest of the season. Will Watson suit up for the Browns this season? Take it or leave it?
Take it.
I'll take it.
Put the jersey on? Sure. I don't know. You want to know something?
Yes.
I don't know who the quarterback for the Browns is.
Right now, Shador.
That's right.
Right now, Shador.
Look, I'm going to be candid with you again. Sunday, LSU was working on coach flying into town.
Yeah.
I didn't watch a lot of NFL football. I know Shador actually has played decent.
Yeah,
that's come my way through the Twitterverse. And I don't even know if they played on Sunday. I think they may have played earlier.
Yeah, they played. They lost though. They played somebody. I can't tell you.
I didn't do the NFL on Sunday. I didn't do the NFL on Friday. It was not an NFL weekend. It was LSU's probably hiring Lane Kiffin this weekend. Yeah. Make sure everything's together. Oh, by the way, try to spend some time with your family weekend. I didn't do a lot of NFL.
Your dad.
I saw the Saints. I know what the Saints did. They were terrible to start, and they almost beat the Vikings. They recovered an onside kick. We can cover the Saints. I don't know what Shador. I don't know what the Browns are doing. I'm not up to speed on the Browns.
You're not missing nothing.
Exactly. So if Deshaun wants to play, that's great. If he doesn't, that's great. I don't have a lot of thoughts on Deshaun, but I do need to hear that. What is Demons coming home? I never heard of this.
A lot of people are like, oh, Demons home. Well, Deshaun Watson's an actual demon.
Demon.
The real demon is actually home this time. Right. So yesterday we talked about Giannis wanting out of Milwaukee and requesting a trade, going to the Knicks. Well, last night, Giannis went down for non-contact injury. I know we're on radio, but I'm doing air quotes, wink, wink, non-contact injury. Now it's come out today that it's a calf strain, and he's out for the next 2 to 4 weeks. I wish we could show you the clip. I'm telling you, wink, wink, went down with a non-contact injury. So is Giannis interesting timing for this injury, huh? Take it or leave it.
I'll take it.
I'll take
a little conspiracy theory.
I'll
tell you this. I hate a conspiracy theory. Some people say I love a conspiracy theory. Yeah. I hate a conspiracy theory. I hate them. Because we deal with this garbage every single Tuesday when everybody jumps on Twitter and goes, well, the committee's just trying to do this. They're trying to do this. They're trying to. I was like, well, maybe they're just ranking them how they think. Maybe they just think that's how the ranking should go. Is that so hard to think? And then you got, whether or not. I can't deal with the conspiracy theories. I'm not good at them. I choose not to believe them. I understand that may be hiding my head in the sand. People ask about UFOs all the time. I'm just fine with my head in the sand on UFOs. I don't need to know where they are, who's driving them around. I don't care. I got to pay the mortgage next month. I can't deal with the aliens. So I'm not good on conspiracy theories. I'll just say that.
Well, I don't know. We might be seeing Giannis in some new colors. All I'm gonna say.
He might be an alien.
Yeah,
he and Wemby might be aliens for all I know. They're good at basketball.
Oh, jump out the gym. So, wrap this up. Lane Kiffin will head to Atlanta to appear on College Game Day this Saturday. Will he troll Ole Miss? Take it or leave it?
I'll leave it. He's not going to do that. Here's the deal. I believe this. This is not me playing tongue in cheek. I really believe this. I think Lane Kiffin really likes a lot of the people involved in Ole Miss. Like, he and Keith Carter may not be on great terms right now. Yeah. I could even see a thing where he and Pete Golding aren't on great terms if you heard some of the reports out of Oxford. Like, that's possible. It was probably really messy going out of there. But, like, the players that he recruited and developed, and, like, I think he wanted to beat Mississippi State even though he knew he was leaving last week. So, like, I don't think he's going to get on there and go hard on Ole Miss right now. I think there will come a time when he's the LSU coach that he may have something to say. If LSU goes to Oxford and wins next year,
Yeah.
there may be a tweet.
gonna say something.
There will be a tweet.
Yeah, there will
right
be.
this very second, I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's going to go. I think he's going to talk very nicely about Ole Miss and where they should be in the playoff, and I think he's going to promote LSU. That's what I think he's going to do on college.
Not even a little slight, just a little something. Little chicken
ESPN
wing.
wasn't going to miss that chance to get him on the desk. Obviously, has the same representation as a lot of them on that desk. We should have known that was coming.
Oh yeah. That's it for Take It or Leave It.
All right, that's it for Take It or Leave It. Brought to you by Flight by Young, the next generation of light beer. Thursday shows brought to you by Sagrera Farms, premium Angus beef. That's all for us. We talked at the top of the show about LSU and signing day. Talked about Blake Baker's future, which I believe is going to materialize here in the next 48 hours or so. Had a lot of LSU discussion in the first hour. Second hour, we talked to Chris Blair and Luke Johnson. That's it for us. You can catch that all on demand. Matt's going to drive you home next on After Further Review.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded